Welcome back to the Precision Trader. Just want to go just do another BOOKMAP session. Show you what was happening behind the scenes with all the orders in the stock market order book today. That way you can take advantage of this tool and get some get a wonderful leading indicator to help you know when to get in and get out. So with that said, we're going to start today's video. If you haven't got a chance to watch any of the previous videos, a lot of good education there. So please take your time, check those out. Each trading day, I try to do a video. So yeah, if you can do that, I would appreciate it, as well as if you can give a like to the video, would be much appreciated. So I know that this is not being done in vain. So with that said, we're going to start with GME, and as we always like to say, we like to start in the pre-market. You got some stocks that you're considering. Pre-market can give you some really nice insight as far as what the day can bring. So we're going to start with Gamestop, and we see the pre-market liquidity. First thing that sticks out is a lot of liquidity at 190. It's at 170 in the pre-market. It was at 177, 179. So the first things that are sticking out to me is 190, lots of liquidity there. Also 185, and then below the price, 170 and 175 is also showing some really good liquidity. So buyers are in the 170, 175 area. Now, will they be able to hold it up? I don't know, but at the same time, if I'm looking to buy the dip or jump on some momentum, yeah, why not let it come down to either this 175, 170, and then once it shows that it can bounce off of that area support on that liquidity level, proving that there are buyers there that can hold it, and hey, ride it up to these higher levels of liquidity. So what happens at the open? Well, at the open, we see that ends up pushing all the way up to 184, and then falling all the way back down to the 175 liquidity. Let me get on my dollar increments here. Falls all the way down there and then pushes all the way back up to we had a band of liquidity here at 188, 190. And yeah, they knocked it right back down from that level. Where'd they knock it back down to? Well, knocked it right back down to these buyers at this first major level of buyers here at 178, 179. And as we can see here, we got support. These are all 1 minute candles. Nice support, nice support. Well, in this case, you can enter here, stop loss just on the other side of liquidity. And we see that, we ended up pushing all the way back up to 186. And let's see what ended up happening from there. Yeah, it was the buyers were able to hold it here and ended up pushing it all the way back up to 195. There was some nice buyers in there. So yeah, that was really good. All right. So with that said, ends up pushing all the way up to the 200 liquidity. That was its goal. Zoom back here, see the big picture. So yeah, once we got good support here on the VWAP at this liquidity, 180, really the goal was always to push up to this 200 level here. And it got it. That was actually a really nice short opportunity. I hate that I missed that because it actually pushed all the way up to 202 and then knocked it all the way back down to 195. Buyers came in at 195, pushed it back up to 199. This is your, good example of a double top here. And they knocked it back down to 195. So yeah, I should have played a little bit more GME today. Let's see what else was we messing around with today? Moderna. All right, let's see what Moderna looked like. So yeah, I was definitely for the last couple of weeks, Moderna has been flashing a ton of liquidity at 420 and 450. Now, and this was when it was at 360, 370, 380. And I've just learned over time that whenever I see these massive layers of liquidity sitting up at a level like that, more times than not, if the overall market can hold, it's gonna get to those levels. I've just seen it happen just countless times. So with that said, we see Moderna at the open. Let's look at it in the pre-market. Pre-market, what do we see here? Pre-market, the vast majority of the liquidity is sitting at 440, 450, and 460. Now, got some decent, support here, buyers at 425, 428. So in this instance, my bias is to the upside. Ideally, let it come down to one of these levels, let it bounce, enter just below the liquidity and ride it up to 440. And then, if it shows that it can hold 440, then 450. If it shows that it can hold 450, then 460, which for today, 460 was about it. 450, 460, that's, the pre-market, that's pretty much telling me this is as good as it's going to get today. So, well, what happens at the open? At the open, we push all the way down to 420 liquidity, buyers there. See, it pushes through them, a little bit, but is able to regain that 420 liquidity, support. Well, once we see support on top of liquidity like this, great entry here, stop loss below liquidity or the wick of this candle, and playing it to the upside. And where are we playing it to? 440, that liquidity up there. And let's see what proceeds to happen. Keeps going, riding the VWAP, ends up coming back to the 420 liquidity. And yeah, that was it. Okay, well, I think we're on the wrong day here. Okay, we're on the wrong day? Has to be. Oh, yeah, it was the wrong day. Okay, with that said, that was yesterday. Held the 420. And today, all right, so this is pre-market. What do we see in the pre-market? Pre-market, we see support 420, 425. We see plenty of support there. And we see plenty of people wanting to do business at 435, 440, 450, and 460. Okay. So again, my bias, just like the previous day, is to the upside. 420, 425 looks like pretty good support. And then there's really nothing below it. Very few people. So again, that just gives me extra bias to the upside. So we see that we open up and let's go to the $1 increments. All righty. So we see that at the open here, come down, find support on 429, and then we can, from there, we proceed to push up. Where are we pushing to? The next major level of liquidity, which is really 440. Yeah, this big band of buyers and sellers here. Now gets there to 440. They end up knocking it all the way back down to 437. And then from there, it pushes back through them. Support, comes down here, tests the VWAP. Support on the VWAP. We always know there's buyers of the VWAP. And where are they pushing it back up to? These next major levels of liquidity. And finally is able to push through all of these sellers, absorb them, knocks it back down. We see right here, when I see this right here, when I see a line after it's pushed through and it starts pulling back a little bit, I see a ton of buyers start stepping in here at 420, 442. Yeah, that's a sign to me that, hey, this thing is for sure, very likely this thing's heading up. Now, if it comes down here and it tries to push up, and then I see all of a sudden this right here pops up right here, now all of a sudden, oh, they're ready to knock it down even further. So this is a great leading indicator. So with that said, they came in, wanted to buy it up. And sure enough, they held it. And it finally gets support back on top of this 445 liquidity. And where are you pushing to? Well, you ran into some sellers at 448. They knocked it back down to 445, support, and where are they heading? 450. This is where they're going. Now, of course, we got into some nice shorting here at 450, and the goal was for it to push. The ideal target was to push all the way back down to this 442 liquidity, but at the same time, you got to be ready to take profit at some VWAP. So anyway, with that said, had some nice rejections, $5 rejection there off of 450, and then it was just the more it just came up here and pushed and just kept hanging out at 450. I was like, man, this is and this is what I was talking about. Came all the way down to the VWAP right here, and from there they bought it back up. Because now if this 460 liquidity had not been here, I would have been like, hey, throw everything in the boat at 450 to short it. But the fact that this level right here was popping in the pre-market, it was holding all day long, I couldn't just go, just throw everything at 450 and short it there. Just couldn't do it. Took the safe route, took the, $5 pullback, gave us a couple of those from 450. And then finally it blasts through 450 there. See a big old, because again, whenever you see this, look at it, just hanging, just sitting here, just riding that, And one thing I've learned, the more times that you have these candles, they're like little wrecking balls. The more they hit on a resistance level, the more times they do it, the more likely they are to break through it. And in this case, absorb the sellers. And of course they did their big push through there, which when I seen this push through there, I was like, guys, let's come back to 450. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to come back and retest 450. You push through a really key level like this on a candle like that, you're going to come back and retest this. So anyway, ends up pushing there all the way up to 455. I was ready for the short, because again, I was already expecting it to come back down to 450. So this was kind of like a gift. I'm like, okay. So thank you. Sure enough, pushes through it a little bit. Then what happens? Sellers come, once it pushes through this liquidity, it knocks it all the way back down to 453, pushes back up to it. More sellers lined up at 446 to knock it all the way back down to 449. Now, part of this drop right here is SPY started falling through the floor all of a sudden. That was a big part of this one. So once I seen SPY start falling really hard, I was like, oh yeah, come on down to 450. So with that said, gets back up on top of it and finally pushes back up to 450, 455, knocks it all the way back down to 453. But again, it wants this 460. I mean, it's like tractor beam. And I was ready for it when it got there. Here, I'll actually show you in the server. We talked about it. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm shorting. I'm shorting GME or MRNA at 460. And I was looking for a pullback. Give me 456. That was where I was looking for it to pull back to. Also too had some nice plays too that we sent out in the pre-market. One of them was LULU, looking to short LULU at 430, take profit at 427, 421. Keep that in mind whenever we check out LULU here in a second. So that was the server. If you haven't had a chance to come check out the server, come check it out. A lot of great stuff there. So again, shorting at 460, pushes up to 460. And again, remember I said come to 456. Why did I say 456? Because look, buyers were sitting there ready to try to buy it back up. So I didn't want to take a chance. That's where I get out. So with that said, that was how I took advantage of mRNA using the order book today. So what was the other one we talked about? LULU. Talked about LULU in the pre-market. 430 was Yeah. 430 and 440 were looking like some pretty tough areas. We see that in the pre-market, there was nice support in the 425, 426, ends up pushing it all the way up to 435 in the pre-market and runs into sellers right there. So I was a little nervous at this point. I was, hesitant about the 430, about getting into the, getting up in at 430. Cause I was like, man, I'm kind of looking to 440. I was like, that's kind of like the golden. Yeah. Cause you look, there was nothing really above 440, other than this big band at 460, which it had already popped $50. It was just, pumped really, really hard in the aftermarket yesterday. So let's see what happens at the open. At the open, we proceed to start dropping like a rock, and drop all the way down to 427. If you remember, I mentioned take profit levels of 427 and also to 421. So got the 427, got my order hit at 430, 431. And then, it took profit at 427, comes down here to pushes all the way down to 422. We see buyers stepping in here. They actually start pulling orders up and are able to push it all the way back up to the 432 liquidity. Wish I'd have been watching, because I would have got right back in there, right back with a short on it. If I'd have known, look at all these, that's a lot of sellers to push through. 432 to 436. Yeah, that's a lot of sellers in that area. So they end up knocking it back down, gets up underneath the VWAP, rejection. And then where is it rejecting to under this VWAP? It's rejecting to the next major level of liquidity. In this case was really 420 to 421. And let's see what proceeded to happen. We get to, all right. There we go. Pushes all the way back down to 421. And 421, 420 to 421. They kept trying to buy it back up. Buyers in that area. And they end up pushing it all the way back up to 429 right here. At sellers ready to take profit. And sure enough, they knocked it all the way back down from 429. I should have followed this stock longer throughout the day. mRNA just had my attention too strong. So knocked it all the way back down from 429 back to 422. And that was pretty much it for the rest of the day. Ended up finally breaking that 422 and coming down to the 420 liquidity. Buyers there. And I'm pretty sure that's probably where it ends the day. Too many buyers there to break through that. Okay. So with that said, that was Lulu. So one more quick one here. Tesla, my favorite. Now, never, ever trade Tesla without an order book. Now, what do we see here? Tesla, start the day, pre-market. I mean, got some support here at 450. Looks like there's some buyers wanting to do some buy it up there if it comes to 450 and 478, and also 750, 748, and 745. But the bias is definitely to the upside. 759, 760. That would be our, resistance levels where sellers are sitting at, looking to take some profit. So ideally, hopefully it falls down to 750, 748 or 7, and then we're expecting the push back up to the higher liquidity if the overall market is holding. SPY's falling through the floor? No, thank you. All right, so we open up, falls down to 752, jumps right up on top of the VWAP. Said many times, once Tesla, first couple, you get 2 to 3 minutes of Tesla. Once it can break, if it breaks above the first couple minutes of trading, that's a good sign that we're going to push another $5 to $10. Well, in this case, it breaks above that one and ends up running up to 761. And what happens there? Rejection, pushes through these sellers. Well, it doesn't get a body candle, it just wicks up into here, knocks them all the way back down to the VWAP. Pushes up again to 761, knocks it all the way back down to 758, pushes up again, 762, sellers knock it all the way back down. This is about the time that SPY started falling through the floor. Yeah, I actually got into once it showed that it was SPY was gonna hold. Yeah, I got in here long 755-ish. Why? Because there was good buyers at 754 and 755. And again, I was extremely biased to the upside because of what I've seen in the pre-market. Like I said, 760 to 765 was, yeah, it just couldn't be denied, or couldn't be ignored, rather. Okay, now this was actually our SPY dip here, all the way down to 754. SPY finds support. Where does it push up to? 760. See right here, 760. They knock it all the way back down to 755. And yeah, SPY continues to be weak. Tesla and SPY are very much, yeah, they're connected. Very rarely will I see Tesla shooting through the roof and SPY falling through the floor. Yeah, that's very rare. So with that said, that was pretty much it for Tesla, I think. Yeah, just went sideways for the majority of the rest of the day there. But with that said, if the overall market, S&P, can hold its ground, yes, 760, it's going to retest 760, try to get on top of that, and ideally try to make its way to 800. Yes, 780, 800. That's here. I'll just show you instead of telling you. Get back to the $5 levels. Yeah. So you can see here, 770, 780, and then 800. This is where Tesla wants to go. Tesla wants to go to 800. With that said, super short right there. Yeah, this will be one of those shorts that literally you put everything you own into a short just below this liquidity, and yeah, take your $5 to $10 rejection profit off of that level for sure. So with that said, I hope this video helped you out, how you can use an order book to pull back the curtain, look what's happening behind the scenes. Again, in lagging indicators, moving averages, RSIs, all that kind of stuff, it's all well and good, but it's not leading. It does not give you the leading information you need to really make some strong actionable decisions. So with that said, I hope this video helped you out. Thanks you for taking the time to watch it, and may the market be with you.